change does not have to be difficult, challenging, or even hard. There's this misconception that when you change, it's going to be hard, it's not going to be easy. And I want to dismantle that, because once you make up in your mind about how you are going to experience something, that is going to be a reality. Change can be exciting, change can be fun. Just because it's unfamiliar doesn't mean that you have to be afraid. It's unknown, it's a sense of unknowing. But because you don't have everything figured out, that's when the creativity can start to arise in you. So with that being said, welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, TYI Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then that means it's not in the line, which means it is not for you. So grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. For today's video, we're going to go over and discuss how change doesn't have to be difficult, or why it doesn't have to be hard, and why it's so important to change your mindset when you're having to pivot and adapt, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, and some disclaimers. So starting off with the introduction, basically what we've been talking about this entire time in the beginning of the video is that there's no one way to do anything in life. That is the first disclaimer. You have to realize that there's so many options and there's so many opportunities, but if you limit yourself to one way of thinking, one way of living, one way of experiencing life, that is what you're going to get. You have to understand that you could achieve success in so many different ways, and because your version of success may be different from other people, doesn't mean that if you don't do it the way you've been told or the way that you've been shown, that one, it will never happen for you, or two, that it's impossible. You have to understand that life is about perspective. You have to create the reality that you want, but in order for you to make the necessary changes, you have to change the way you are experiencing your life and what it is that you want. So the second disclaimer is learning to be excited about the change. So the opposite of you being anxious and overwhelmed is you being excited. You just have a lot of adrenaline, you have a lot of energy, and maybe it's been misdirected. Maybe you've never been able to express your emotions and you're not able to identify what it is. A lot of times your fear and anxiety and anxiousness is you having a sense of excitement because you're thrilled, you want to experience these things, you have desires. So until you're able to realize how the excitement is affecting you and how to control the excitement and what you need to do when you receive that energy, you will constantly go back and forth about what it is that you need to do. So the third disclaimer, you guys, hopefully you guys are not hearing that loud noise in the background. It's my dryer, I'm doing my laundry. The third disclaimer, and I'm not gonna edit this, the third disclaimer when becoming excited is knowing that, yes, even though you are having to change and you used to think a certain type of way, doesn't mean that you have to be so dismissive or even aggressive to yourself. Like, a lot of you are being hard on yourself, and that's the only reason why a lot of times it seems challenging and difficult, because I don't like those words, and I don't like when people say things, oh yes, it was so challenging and it was so difficult. And it's just like, if it's so challenging and it's so difficult, why did you do it? Who wants to do something that's challenging and difficult? No, change your perspective. Look at it from a different view. It's an experience. The problem is you are a know-it-all, and not in a good way. You don't always need to know everything. Like, you're a know-it-all, you have trust issues, and you're a control freak. And as your favorite mental health specialist, I don't like that for you. The people will be like, oh, it's so hard. Stop trying to control things you don't have figured out. That's the tea. Until you learn how to work on those things, and like I said, you are able to look at it from a different perspective, why does it have to be hard? Why does it have to be difficult? No, like, accept, what you are having to let go of, evaluate it. And if you want better, you will learn how to become excited, which is going to get into the recommendations. But it's like, you have to be honest with yourself in order for you to even change your mindset and to see it from a different perspective. Now, of course, when you're struggling and you're suffering and you're going through trials and tribulations and you don't know who you are and you don't know what it is that you want, it's not going to make sense to a certain degree. Like, a lot of times we have desires and we think everything has to be done a certain type of way. And I'm speaking from experience. This is why I'm saying this. Like, a lot of times we have desires in life and we want things to go a certain type of way. And when things don't go our way, we want to catch attitude. you will get humbled, and not in a way of people like degrading you or making fun of you or mocking you or putting you down, but your higher self, your God's, the ancestors, the universe. What is meant to be, inshallah, is going to happen regardless. And we as people sometimes don't need to have everything figured out. Like, that's like when you try to question why water is wet. There are some things as a human being that is too much for us to fathom, not because we can't take the time to figure it out, but it's like it requires so much energy and effort. And a lot of times when you're constantly having to force things that are not in alignment with you, that's when it becomes difficult. That is when it becomes challenging. And that is why a lot of people are stressed out and overwhelmed. Stop trying to figure out the who, what, when, where, and why, and figure out where you are right now. That is causing you to feel anxious. That is causing you to feel overwhelmed, and that's why you have anxiety. Slow your roll, pump your brakes. Learning to be excited about moving forward in your future is a positive thing. It doesn't have to be negative, but in order for us to focus on the positive, which we're going to get to in just a second, we have to realize where we are. And that's going to be the final disclaimer. Learn to be where your feet are. Learn to be present. I recently made a video talking about why it's so important to be present. Check that out. You have to be still sometimes. Things are not going to work out how you want them to when you want them to. It doesn't mean that it's not possible, but it just means, okay, there's some things that you're unable to see. That's fine. Once again, you are the only person who is trying to rush yourself and overwhelm yourself and overwork yourself. And that's why you think it's challenging and difficult. And that's going back to what I said. Like, when people say stuff like, oh, it's challenging, difficult. Once again, if it was really challenging and difficult, why did you do it? I don't believe that things are that challenging and that difficult. It's just, that is what is expected. And once again, if it's unfamiliar and you've never done it before, you shouldn't even have any expectation. Whoop-de-doo, cancel me, get upset. Like I said, we're here to be motivated, informed, and educated. And in order to do that, you have to be honest. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be accountable. And that's what I do for myself. So best believe I'm going to hold that mirror up to you. So if you don't like these videos, send it and share it to somebody that does. But if you're returning, you know the vibes. And I'm speaking for myself because I'm literally talking to a camera right now. But you're going to watch this from your perspective. And that's going to lead us into the first recommendation. In order for us to change our mindset to be positive and be excited about wanting to do better, we have to be honest with ourselves. And this is why I'm making these videos. I've gone through things myself. In order for me to make these videos and continue to show up, I've had to hold the mirror up. I'm going to show you guys my other phone, a reflection of me. Look at myself and ask myself, what is it about my past that just seems so jarring and so frustrating or so chaotic that I thought it was so difficult and so challenging for me to let go and take the time to evaluate and grieve and journal and speak and go to therapy and do all these things, and then to realize why I needed to experience it and let it go. Now, of course, I do this every day. I don't just pick and choose to talk about mental health. I know it's convenient and trendy and it's popular, but it's like, if you really claim to be a chosen one or a dark knight or a scapegoat, whatever you want to call yourself, you're constantly going to go through changes and phases in life, because life is not one way and nobody's living your life but you. So yes, we can see other people do certain things. You can have similarities and common interests with people, but at the end of the day, you still have to make decisions for yourself. You still have to be able to learn things for yourself. You still have to have experiences for yourself. And you are not going to feel how everybody else feels. Like, you, Y-O-U, need to start paying attention to you, because this is your life. And in order for you to be excited about your life, you need to figure out who you are and how you feel and why you feel the way you do. You don't have to be selfish in order for you to be selfless. You figuring out what and why you had to experience certain things and separating yourself is necessary. This is why I talk about going into isolation and being separated. And when certain people, places, and things start to be weird, quote unquote, or you start to get a vibe, you need to start removing yourself. You are going to outgrow people, places, and things. And the only reason why it seems like change is so challenging is because you're not realizing that a lot of you are staying in situations that you need to outgrow, because the longer you sit where you're not meant to be sat, you get uncomfortable. The only time I've ever felt like WTF was when I knew, me personally, this is why I hold myself accountable when I make these videos, because I'm not scary, is because, and I'm very honest with myself, I'm very aware of myself, is because I knew I did not need to be in certain environments for longer than what I needed to be. And I knew that if I didn't get out the environments when I had the chance to, I was going to suffer. That's what consequences are. Now, some of you, yeah, I'm in your business. I'm in your business, because if you really know who I am, I'm your favorite rich auntie. I just happen to do this on the side, okay? But as your favorite rich auntie and a real woman and lady in real life, we have to have a certain standard. We have to have a certain level of accountability. And some of you have never been accountable for your actions. And as a rich auntie, who's a traditional rich auntie, I believe in disciplining and disciplinary. So if you've never been disciplined before, life will discipline you. Life will humble you, or God, or the ancestors, universe, take what resonates with Christ. I'm not here to force religion, spiritual. But it's like, we have to be accountable for our actions. Things are only difficult and challenging because we are making it difficult and challenging. Now, we are asking, well, what if I'm around certain people, places, and things? Once again, you, and this is going to be the second recommendation, you have control over what you have control over. If you don't have control over certain situations and people and places and things, you have to become the bigger person. You have to be able to separate yourself and realize, this is not working. This is draining me. These people, places, and things are causing me harm, or whatever it is. So now you need to come up with a plan. Is it fair? No. Is it right? No. Is that the reality? Yes. What are you going to do about it? Because over here, we're not here to sit here and cry and whine and shout all day, every day. Because nobody cares. I care, but everyone's not me. So this is why, if you're choosing to be here, you need to start caring about yourself, because I care about myself and I care about the people who come in contact with me. So that's the second recommendation, excuse me. You got to start being real with yourself. You got to start being accountable for yourself. You have realized with the first recommendation, okay, why did you go through this? How did it make me feel? I'm taking these notes. I follow TYI Guidance. I'm liking, I'm asking questions, I'm engaging, or I'm booking a service in a session with her, okay? Because, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. We need to be accountable. I knew, for example, when there were certain moments in my life where I wanted to do certain things, once again, I never said it was going to be difficult or challenging, but I knew when I, quote unquote, felt uncomfortable, or I'll just say that to be relatable. When let's just say hypothetically, I would have thought it would have been difficult and challenging, only because I wasn't doing what I needed to do. My consequences didn't match my actions. When you know you're meant to do something, if you want to live a certain type of life, okay, let's backtrack. In real time, if I have certain goals for myself, which I do, I currently am working on a goal. If I know I have a certain goal for myself, and I know I don't do what I need to do daily to achieve this goal, as the time goes by and the longer I wait to not accomplish the goal, the more frustrated and the more overwhelmed I would feel. But whose fault is that? That's on me. And a lot of times we get warnings and signals, especially for those of you who claim to be religious and spiritual. You're only going to get so many warnings, so many signs, intuition, discernment, to where it's going to be like, okay, like I said, the people and the places and things, they did what they did. You have to learn how to separate yourself. If you're in a situation right now and it's chaotic and it's dysfunctional, you have to come to the realization that it's time for you to leave. This is not going to work. These people are not helping you. If it's family, if it's friends, coworkers, you're not meant to be there forever. You need to learn how to figure it out, because if you don't, you're going to feel stuck and stagnant. And that's going to lead into the recommendation. Once you start paying attention to your life and you take it seriously and you're intentional, you need to cut off certain people, places, and things, and you need to have boundaries. You need to have standards for yourself, and you need to have standards for other people. People cannot do you wrong if they don't have access to you. Nobody can hypothetically take anything from you if you don't give them opportunity to take from you. Even if people try to come up to you and take things from you, the only way they will be able to is if you allow it to happen. You could say, look, that's not going to happen. Like if somebody, because I've had that happen to me before. I've had people try to insert themselves and force themselves. People call it parasocial relationships. I've had people have parasocial relationships with me, and I did not want nothing to do with them. Now, when I encounter these people, because I'm not somebody who feels the need to say certain things to people, because I have a sense of self and sense of awareness of myself, I'm not somebody that does a lot of back and forth. I can't even get my sentences out. So because I'm not the type of person to do all this extra, it constantly over explain myself and do all this unnecessary stuff when I know I'm not for you, I will be the bigger person and avoid them. People who are not like that will try to come to you and they'll try to say and do certain things. So for me, I was able to realize, whether it was immediately or after I was able to recognize certain characteristic traits, that these people weren't good for me. I had to remove myself. Yes, you are going to have some people who feel entitled, like I said, but once you see that certain people want to have access to you and they're not doing anything productive for you, you have to be like, okay, am I going to continue to allow this or am I not? So like with me, when I have met certain people in my life, I had to make a decision. Am I going to continue to surround myself with certain people just because I'm going through whatever it is I'm going through? Or am I going to be like, you know what, you're not a good person, and remove myself? And you know what I am doing? I end up removing myself and saying you're not a good person. And I don't talk to any of these people ever again. Thank God. Because they weren't good people. They weren't good people to themselves and they weren't good people to me. And you have to realize that. Why would you want to be associated with people, places, and things and they don't help themselves and they're not going to help you? You are only going through certain things because you need to learn certain lessons in life. That is what life is going to teach you. People say life is a school. We are the fish. Okay? So the fourth recommendation is knowing that in order for you to continue to be excited after you're accountable, after you start being real with yourself, after you start facing yourself, is being excited and looking forward to the things that you want. Now, of course, like I said, you're going to have to practice. This is not going to happen overnight unless you're returning and you take notes and you've been asking questions and we're on the same page. But for the rest of you, grab your pen and paper. That's why I make the disclaimer every single day, because this is a school, okay? You're the teacher, I'm the teacher. You're the student, I'm the student. We're here to help one another. But in order to help you specifically, because you're watching this video, you're going to have to allow yourself to become excited if you're somebody who has low energy when you've gone through a lot. But if you're new and it's your first video, you need to watch all the other videos. If you're not new, you gotta let me know where you're at, because there's no reason to continue to not learn how to be excited and look forward to the things that you want in life, because it's like we need to move forward. So lastly, continue to move forward. Whatever you dealt with in 1985, handle it. Whatever you dealt with in 2005, end it. Whatever you dealt with and handled in 2015, accept it. Whatever you dealt with and went through in 2025, make peace with it. Until you make peace with your past and what you needed to do, you will not become excited. You will be frustrated. You will be angry, and you'll feel like nothing is working out for you and things are not going to change. When time is already going by, like I don't know if you realize, time is flying by. Time is going by crazy. Like for those of you who are religious or into spirituality, you all know what happened in 2020. It is now 2026. It wasn't a coincidence. Old ways of thinking, old ways of living, it's had its course. And that's the same thing with you. So you need to be present. You need to be caught up. Whatever questions, comments, concerns, let me know. If you want a part 2, what resonated with you, what you need to work on, book your service in your session. If not, follow me on all my social media platforms. The information in the description down below. I love you. You're love. Until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.